the interview process, right? You start talking about that kind of thing, it's going to be like, wow, these guys really got it.
My little one, Sean, he is just 13-year-old, and I think what will really, really satisfy him at this point is he getting the opportunity to go help Mr. Beast.
Welcome to this episode of Sunny's Silver Linings. Today's guest is Keith Fast, at large at Tech Impact Solutions. In today's episode, they chat about Keith's entrepreneurial journey, rethinking and reimagining 2023 talent strategy, and so much more. And now, your host, the founder and CEO of IT by Design, Mr. Sunny Kaila. Over to you, Sunny.
Hi, Keith. Welcome to Sunny's Silver Linings.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I appreciate you joining me today, Keith. Appreciate your friendship. Appreciate your partnership. And yeah, so, just to share with the universe, we go back many, many years ago when we were in the peer group, our first time kind of getting to know each other. And then we stay connected and kind of our friendship grew. We're friends for life, I should call it. Friends for life. They're friends for a reason, they're friends for a season, and they're friends for lifetime. So you are in my friends for lifetime circle. And thank you for being a great friend.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so I want to start with your journey, Keith. So can you please share your entrepreneurial journey? How did you get into the MSP space? And I know you had your exit a couple of years ago. And so if we can start with your entrepreneurial journey, please.
Sure. In, it would have been about 1994, 1995, I decided to make a career change. The career I was in would really take me to other parts of the country that I really wasn't planning on wanting to go to. So I thought about what it is that I had a kind of a natural capability and was drawn to, that I thought I could be successful. And computers was it. And in 1995, those were the early days of networking. So I ran out and got my Novell CNE certificate and hung up a shingle and started marketing to friends and acquaintances what I was doing, and was able to grow that business. Hired my first employee in about 1997. Probably it was all T&M back in those days. So we started transitioning to like a managed service idea or concept back in the mid 2000s. For those that have made that transition, those were not easy times, but we did that successfully. And then in about 2017, 2018, decided to sell the business, decided to make a lifestyle change, bought a house up in the mountains where I'm at today. And then, for those that think I still have something to offer, I'm still doing consulting and giving my perspective, the things that work for me, the things that, lessons that I learned that were expensive and difficult. And sharing those with others that might be in a similar situation.
No, thank you for sharing that. And you scaled your business to a very when it comes to MSPs, so you were in the really top profit generating MSPs when we used to share our numbers, like best in class numbers always. And had a lot of success. And now your focus is a lot more on talent. And today we're going to talk about your learnings when it comes to talent. Because as an entrepreneur, especially as a professional services, just like MSP, managed services, your product is people. I always talk about this. And Keith, you talk about conventional strategies are not working for the majority of the company. We must rethink, reimagine our 2023 talent strategy to be successful with talent hiring, development and retention in 2023 and beyond. What do you mean by that, Keith?
Well, I think there's a lot of us that believe that the strategies that we had for acquiring and retaining staff, from the 90s. I mean, I was a product of the 70s, right? So the workplace looked a lot different. It appeared to me as an employee that the employers had all the power. We had very little decision making, and I think that has switched. And while the pandemic gets blamed for a lot of the workforce changes and disruptions in staffing, I saw it happening several years before that. And I think if we want to be successful with our staffing, with our employees, then we have to really understand what make the things that they're looking for in employment. The millennial and Gen Z, which is primarily our up and coming workforce, if we need to understand what's important to them, what they're looking for, if we want to attract the best talent. I think there will always be the case that we can attract the talent that maybe is having more difficulty finding work or keeping work. But if you want the top-notch people, if you want to retain the top-notch people, I think we have to be far more competitive in how we're looking at our company culture, our values, our mission statement, how we communicate that to our clients and our staff. I think we need to put a lot more time and effort into that than we have done in the past.
So Keith, you always talk about redefining company culture. What do you mean by that?
So historically, we have not really, we're kind of stuck in the past, right? We're doing things the way we used to do them. I think we have to look anew at what our workforce is looking for in employment. Millennials and Gen Zs have different needs, different wants, different expectations about what employment is. And as we start to embrace that workforce, if we want to attract top talent, we have to recognize those things that they are looking for that's meaningful to them. Otherwise, you're going to have a difficult time attracting those top people. And you're going to have a difficult time retaining those top people because there's other companies that are quite possibly doing it better than you. And of course, we all know this trickles down, right? If you've got a workforce that's totally united behind your organization and its cause, its mission, its purpose, its values, that communicates in the way that they provide services to your clients. And so it's a trickle down. I think all of us have been on the phone with an unhappy worker. We don't want those people working. We want to find a way to get them excited about working for our organizations.
Yeah, so no, that's so true. And what I hear you say is just because of the workforce is changing in terms of age diversity to many different factors. I mean, this is a new world that we live in, and culture strategies are kind of very traditional, very conventional, and they were built, or best practices that were there even pre-COVID, three years ago. Those are no longer valid, or majority of them are they need to be revised, because it's a totally different environment, right? So the more and more Gen Zs, the next generation is coming into the technology work environment. Environment is changing, and for that reason, there's a need for us to rethink. Now, you talk about the benefits as well. So what do you see changing with the new workforce? What needs to be true for them to be happy with their benefits?
There is a shift. I saw this in raising my own two kids, and we probably as parents have seen this in the youth of today. But I saw a pretty significant transition to people being more globally focused. when they're out looking for careers, employment, when I was growing up, it's really about, is it enough for me to survive and for me to, meet the needs of my family? Yeah. For them, it's really about how are they contributing globally, right? The concepts have gotten much bigger, and I think our values, our culture, and extending down to our benefit program, we really need to look at how to embrace that global thought. And I've got some pretty radical ideas. I can't even tell you if these were unique or not, or I read them somewhere. But things like, wouldn't it be kind of amazing? I mean, carbon footprint, change in climate. These are things that generation are concerned about. And to a large degree, I think we ignore it as employers. Those that are not ignoring it, kudos for you. But how about this? How about there be $1,000 per year benefit to employees that can purchase or do something that will globally change their environmental footprint? So how about $1,000 a year if they purchase a bicycle that they use 50% for commuting to work? How about helping with a max cap of $5,000 after 5 years to help them pay for an all EV vehicle? Personally, I'd spend $5,000 in a heartbeat to keep the talent that I had. And yeah, not only is it beneficial to them because finances are a big concern, but it also it's putting your belief system into action, right? And I got to tell you, spending $5,000 every 5 years is a whole lot cheaper than recruiting. I mean, just think of the interview process. The interview process, right? You start talking about that kind of thing, it's going to be like, wow, these guys really got it.
Yeah. My little one, Sean, he is just 13-year-old, and I think what will really, really satisfy him at this point is he getting the opportunity to go help Mr. Beast. That kind of helping do some cleanup with the ocean. So because that's what he's kind of consuming from TikTok and everything that, Dad, this guy is, to your point, is doing this type of environmental work. And yeah, so, you're so right when it comes to now this new thinking with the new workforce, what drives them is very different. So we got to be able to think out of the box and see what we can do. Now, another thing that, Keith, when we were talking about this podcast, you were sharing that a lot of MSPs, they're not marketing their culture the right way. So attracting talent is a big piece of building a great team. Building right talent is what I mean by attracting talent. And so what are your recommendations, some suggestions, what companies can do to attract right talent for their culture?
Well, I think the first thing is that you have to have your house in order, right? So you have to have your company culture working. You have to figure out, for each organization, it's going to be a little bit different, right? What are those unique policies, practices, benefits, culture? Strategically make a list of how, if someone were to go up to one of your employees and say, what phrase or word would you use to explain your work environment? What is that one word or the phrase you would use to kind of demonstrate what your work environment is like? That's going to give you a clue as to where your company culture currently is. You all have a company culture. The question is whether or not it's a culture that you are managing or whether you're just letting the personalities with your organization create. So start there, get your house in order, and then it will be pretty clear how you can, what defines your company culture and how you can communicate that. Well, one of our company cultures is we were going to have fun, right? And so in the job postings, we would communicate fun in the job posting. For those nerds, it's like when you see 127.0.0.1, do you feel at home? Just when you put those types of things in a posting, you're communicating very effectively, I think, what your culture is. And so those are the opportunities you got to look for.
Yeah. So just for non-technical people who are listening, that sounds like IP address, Keith.
Yeah, that's my propeller nerd thing coming out. But we were posting for a technical position, right? So the people that we want understood it and got it. And if you didn't understand it, didn't get it, then you're really not right for the job anyway. But but that it's for those that are less technical, it's not going to make any sense anyway. But it's a loop back address, right? It's like how you reference back into your own system. But so if I'm HR, like HR's job is normally to create those job ads. And so what I'm hearing is that when your core value is to have fun, or that's there, that how do you communicate that to the world in terms of the relevancy again, making it relatable and relevant to the audience, but at the same time, kind of being able to articulate that core value that this is who we are as a culture. So I now want to switch gears a little bit here. So thank you for sharing your wisdom, your experience when it comes to people, culture, hiring people, training people, retaining people. Now, you have been doing some consulting in the MSP space. Now, what are the top 3 challenges that you see in the channel, like from the MSP business owner's lens? Let's take 2023 as a focus point. So what are the top 3 challenges that you see, Keith? Top 3. So probably the top one I really think is around the retaining talent. I think employees, if they do not find a social fit in your organization, they are going to leave. So you really have to be, you got to have your spidey sense up on what your team expects from you as an employer and the things that you can do to make them successful, not only professionally, but even to some degree personally. And that's going to actually change region to region, right? People on the East might have a different set of needs than in the West. So you're going to have to kind of scope in on your geographic area on that. To me, talent was always the key to our success. And so that's to me, that should be your number one priority, is really getting a handle and looking at mission and doing all company culture. Just look strongly at that. Number 2, understand your numbers. You and I, Sunny, we've spent a fair amount of time looking at numbers, right? And what is important really even isn't what your numbers are as much as that you understand them, that you look at your GP and what your GP includes and doesn't. Is it burdened? Is it unburdened? What you need to really know your numbers. And so if you haven't gone through and dug down into those things and looked at everything you're spending money on and how your budgets are for advertising and that kind of thing, man, now's the time. I always look very fondly on market disruptions. I don't think many people understood that because, so when COVID happened, my response is, while this is kind of bad, I mean, from a health perspective, from an opportunity perspective, there's some silver linings. And those organizations that came out of COVID stronger than when they went in understood that. And those companies that struggled through COVID in trying to retain market, they didn't understand that. And so understanding numbers. And I think the third thing that I would put on that list is, now I know this is, Sunny, you guys are really passionate about this, and I appreciate this about you, and that is building leadership into your team. Man, I'll tell you, as soon as you really wrap your head around how do I develop my team into leaders, man, you're doing them not just good for your business, but you are contributing to the success of the individual in a personal way. And so make that investment. Find opportunity to develop leadership in your team. I can't speak highly enough about the impact that's going to have on everybody, particularly on your leadership team and how they interact with the rest of your staff.
Okay. And that's the only way to scale your business as well beyond you, right? So because you can only take it to a certain level as a single leader, and then you need other helping hands in terms of leadership, helping hands to scale your business. No, that's so awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Keith. That I think some things they overall there's a little bit of a change in terms of how you look at things, but things stays the same. And when we were in our peer group 20 years ago or somewhere there, talent was the top challenge. And it's still the top challenge, but in a different way. When it comes to numbers, we always, gave a hard time to each other with the numbers, driving accountability with each other, especially with our friend Gary.
Oh, yes.
We always gave him a lot more hard time than anyone else. So numbers is always going to be the focus, and leadership, right? So talent, numbers, leadership, that is key to being a successful entrepreneur. And thank you so much, my friend, for coming to my show and sharing. I appreciate you, and you take care.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you for watching Sunny's Silver Linings. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you next time.